Bryan, your call to Lincoln, Nebraska. We're ringing.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
303-3100. May I help you?
Ah, hello. This is Bryan Howard. I'm calling Jefferson Keyes.
One moment, please. Sir Bryan?
Thanks to Her Majesty's infinite grace, yes.
Come on, Kathy. We could be there in just a few hours. Did you know that there are parts... Thank you. Did you know there are parts of the Caribbean that are completely unspoiled and primitive?
Jeff, doesn't it bother you leading such a rootless life?
No. Does it bother you?
What's the matter?
Nothing. Excuse me. I'll be right back. Jefferson Keyes here.
Hi, Jeff.
Bryan Howard calling from London.
Well, put him on.
Bryan, how have you been? It's been a long time.
I could bore you with the usual banalities, but not at 6:40 in the morning.
Nothing ever got you up that early, so I assume you haven't been to bed yet. A party or a problem?
An extremely large and unwieldy problem. Are you available?
Professionally?
Professionally?
I'm available. But Bryan, the tab is a little stiff.
I know your price, and if you recall, I am in a position to know you're worth it.
All right, Bryan. If you can afford the price, I'm your man.
Are you all right? I was getting worried.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Just a telephone call.
Telephone call?
I decided you're right, so I got one.
One what?
A job in France. I took the job because I needed it, not because it sounded promising. But when you're working a couple of light years away from the basic minimum wage, you have to expect job offers to be either formidable, dangerous, or bizarre. The one Bryan Howard offered threatened to be all three. That never goes out of fashion, because there is no other place that could possibly compete with present pleasures or past glories. The casino. They have something for everyone. Roulette, chemin de fer, even dice Las Vegas style. The odds are no better here than anywhere, but you can lose in the best of company. Some people, of course, prefer the good life under less crowded conditions. Victoria Chambers, for one. Be it ever so humble, there's no place Victoria calls home. She has what she calls houses, and this is one of the smaller ones.
Victoria, you look marvelous.
Oh, you have developed into a consummate liar, Elizabeth. However, you do look wonderful, Holly. But then, who doesn't at 17?
Victoria, you may not grow any older, but I do. I'm 18.
Come along, I'm starved. I hope you all are, too.
George Karinakis, the rich man's rich man, and Elizabeth, his beautiful American wife. In acquiring Elizabeth, Karinakis also acquired her daughter, Holly Hamilton.
C'est moi qui le déteste.
Je le trouve pas mal. Au moins, elles sont sympathiques, étant honnête.
And also a little dull, Holly, dear. George, do you find this wine a little soft?
You know it is not soft. It is from Chalvain's cellar.
You have a remarkable palate.
No. I have a remarkable intelligence service. I have spent the better part of my life coveting that cellar. When I found the Duke was ready to sell, I found that you had already bought.
Allow an old lady her small triumphs, George.
Victoria, that plane sounds as if it's in trouble. Is it yours?
Madam. Excuse me, madam. You have a call from the radio room. They've received a request for permission to land.
Here?
The pilot claims it's an emergency. He also claims to be a friend, Jefferson Keyes.
Jeff? Oh, he is a friend. Jeff, what's your problem?
I don't have one, Victoria. I wish I could say the same for my plane.
Well, then land, for heaven's sake.
I can't. Your man just told me the field's too short.
What about Nice?
Well, it's a beautiful place, but I'd never make it.
Well, surely you're not going to crash.
Not here, I hope. I put it on automatic pilot. It'll crash somewhere out in the Mediterranean.
What about you?
Under the circumstances, I'd like your permission to bail out, now.
Of course, of course. But hurry, Jeff.
Why doesn't his parachute open? There's something wrong with it, Victoria.
I could kill him for doing that to me, but I should have expected it.
You mean he wasn't in trouble?
No, dear. Skydiving is one of his less tolerable hobbies. The idea seems to be to wait till the last possible moment to pull that ripcord.
Elena's report on the Karinakis family hadn't mentioned that Holly Hamilton had become a woman. And I hadn't even known she was going to be there. But something in her manner told me this was my invitation to the Karinakis yacht.
You were charming, as always.
Well, thank you, Victoria.
Unfortunately, it won't work.
What are you talking about? What won't work?
I don't know yet. Whatever it is that brought you leaping into our midst this afternoon like some overgrown Peter Pan.
Peter Pan? Gee, Victoria, I'd hope for a more heroic image.
It's too convenient, Jeff. Running into trouble directly over my villa. You didn't actually send that beautiful machine to a watery grave, now did you?
No. The automatic pilot's name is Tony Baylor, and he's on his way to Rome.
I thought so.
Victoria, what's your policy on uninvited guests?
Flexible. Are you inviting yourself to something other than lunch?
Well, I'm trying. Would you mind putting me up for a while? Victoria, I'm taking a bath.
Never comment on the obvious, Jeff.
Well, I usually bathe alone.
What's your intention of hopping into the tub with you?
Look, can't we discuss whatever it is a little later?
Oh, Jeff, you're not really embarrassed, are you? I'm practically young enough to be your mother. Would you like your back scrubbed?
No, I wouldn't like my back scrubbed. And from now on, I'm going to lock the door.
You can't. The locks don't work. I had them fixed.
All right, Victoria, what does he want?
I was really delighted with your phone call. We hadn't talked in so long. As I recall, you were keen for an account of my health, my happiness, and my social calendar. You knew that Karinakis would be here this afternoon.
I believe you did mention it.
Jeff, if I'm to be used, I insist on knowing in what manner and to what purpose.
I'm sorry, I can't tell you.
I am a woman of infinite patience.
Good night, Victoria.
And determination.
Victoria, I'm very tired.
Oh, nonsense. You're too young to be tired.
Oh, you'd be surprised how much I've aged in the past few hours. I've admitted, yes, I wanted to meet Karinakis. Yes, there was a purpose to wanting to meet him. Yes, that purpose was to be invited onto his yacht. And no, I cannot tell you why.
You're neither a climber nor a crook. And those are the only two reasons that come to mind. In any event, the question's really academic. You won't be invited.
You told me they found me quite charming.
Oh, they did. You are. But you are not titled, and you are not celebrated. And those are the required credentials. No, Jeff. I'm truly not in a position to help you. However, I am in a position to hurt you. A phone call to Elizabeth.
You wouldn't. Now, if I tell you, will you promise not to make that phone call?
If what you have in mind isn't immoral, illegal, or vulgar.
Well, it's none of those. Have you ever seen the Van Buren painting on Karinakis' yacht?
Of course. After Elizabeth, it's his prime exhibit.
I'm going to steal it.
You'd have it by the end of the week. Now, I am flat, man. Believe me.
Herman runs her?
Diego.
You're not Herman runs her?
Yeah, I was, man. But what kind of a name is that for a man with a real talent? I mean, there's Picasso, Bonnard, Matisse. Herman runs her.
I see. Well, what about Kandinsky, Motherwell, and Klein? But I see what you mean. May I come in?
You ain't hear about the rent?
Well, indirectly, yeah. I might help you pay it. I want to buy a painting.
Well, come on in. Look around, see what you like. Or I could paint you something to order. Portrait, even. I don't do many of them, but what's the difference? You paint, right?
Right. It's not a portrait. It's a landscape.
Oh, hey, I got a lot of them. Look, browse around.
No, thanks. It's a particular landscape, this one. You recognize it?
Yeah, Van Borden's Elysium.
Right. Could you make me a copy?
Well, you got a copy.
What I got's a print. What I want's an oil copy in the exact size of the original. The dimensions are on the back.
Oh, hey, wait a minute, mister. I may be broke, but I ain't crooked.
Well, that's nice to know. Neither am I.
Well, what do you want it for?
I'm an art lover.
Art lover? Van Borden's a bum. Look at this print. Even you can see the sloppy brushwork. There's no discipline. You want a copy of a lousy Van Borden when you can have a Diego original?
I'd rather have the Van Buren. Can you do it?
Oh, I can. You sure it ain't illegal?
Look, I want it foolproof, not critic-proof, and I want it in 5 days.
How much?
$5,000.
That's illegal. Oh, but I'll do it.
Mr. Keyes, I hope you won't think I'm presumptuous, although I really am. I'm going to ask a favor of you.
And I'm sure it won't be presumptuous. What is it?
When you jumped from your plane the other day, I don't think you realize how deeply it affected me. It seemed like hours before you opened your chute. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, just watching it. I've been talking to my mother and stepfather. No, I haven't been talking. I've been nagging them for days. And they finally agreed that it would be all right if you said it would be all right. Will you, Mr. Keyes, will you teach me to skydive?
System.
What's that?
Well, that's where you and I free fall together. With me holding onto your harness, of course, until you pull. Now, if you look relaxed, I may even let you go for a while. But don't worry about it. We'll always be about 2 or 3 feet apart. In case anything happens, I can move in fast, okay?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Jump somewhere else.
Where?
Well, there's a spot a couple of miles from Victoria's. It's not an official landing field, but the ground is just as hard.
They'd be terribly upset.
Maybe even furious.
Then let's jump there.
Cut the engine.
Let me help you off with that.
Oh, Jeff, I can't believe it. It was everything I thought it would be.
Worth all the bumps and bruises?
Worth it? It was worth everything, anything. Well, I've never felt such ecstasy. There wasn't any time, any world, just... Oh, I don't know. Just quiet and freedom. There aren't any words to describe it, are there?
No, there aren't. And if there were, we wouldn't need them.
Would you believe me if I told you that you're the first man that's ever kissed me? I didn't mean mean to sound, maybe men are just afraid to kiss me. I think I knew that you wouldn't be.
I think the bloodhounds have found us.
They're very good at their job.
Yeah, they sure are. Would you like to have a go again tomorrow?
We're sailing on Friday.
Oh, for how long?
Who knows? George doesn't like schedules. Jeff, couldn't you come with us?
Gavaloni, the Karinakis yacht, complete with hot and cold running water. Now, I know that's not unusual, but from solid gold faucets. It also has 40 telephones at last count, 3 chefs. 1 only does salads, and a distinguished passenger list.
George has decided he wants to go to Joanne Le Pen. We'll be there tomorrow.
Did anyone ever tell you you speak English with a slight accent?
So do you.
Oh, no. Not slight, very large. It's called American. Yours is, British with a flavor of something else. I don't quite know.
I speak 6 languages fluently, all of them with a slight accent. But then I haven't been back in America for a long time.
You're gonna say back home?
Yes, I haven't been back there for 14 years. Not since Daddy died and Mother married George. This is George's world and Mother's too.
Is it your world?
Of course.
Cheers.
Yes. Jeff?
Yeah.
When we dock, what are you going to do?
I have to go to London.
For how long?
Just for a day, I have some business with an old friend. I believe you know him. Bryan Howard.
Oh, I haven't seen him since I was a little girl. For years, he was practically part of the family. Then he had a fight with George about something. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to him.
Well, maybe sometimes it's better that way, Holly.
No. No, it's never better. Jeff, I don't want to say goodbye to you. But if I have to, you will tell me.
I'll tell you. Horse operas at high noon. Now, that's hardly the image you'd expect from Sir Bryan Howard. Sophisticate, international wit.
Fraud. I'm sorry, but it's a bit of a sickness of mine. You must forgive me. What the hell are you doing here, anyhow?
Well, I just thought I'd come by and tell you personally how much I enjoyed my cruise on the Karinakis yacht.
My boy, you're a genius. How did you manage it?
Well, Bryan, I saw the Van Boren.
Well, of course he did. Anyone that goes on that old barge has his nose rubbed in it. When are you going to get it, eh?
I'm not.
What do you mean you're not? You promised. Besides, one more year in that saltwater atmosphere and the picture might be damaged irreparably.
Bryan, I used Holly to get on that yacht. Now, Karinakis is one thing, so is Elizabeth. I wouldn't hesitate to use those two. They're the haves. But that girl is a have-not.
You make it sound as if she was the poor little match girl.
Well, I got to know her quite well. She's beautifully innocent and terribly vulnerable, and If I took the painting, somehow she'd know I worked my way into her life just to get a job done. I can't let that happen. I know how much you want the Van Boren, too.
Do you, Jeff? Do you? Well, I suppose I could live without it.
I used you, Holly. The engine trouble over the villa, my flamboyant entrance into your life was all prearranged.
Are you saying that everything that's happened between us these past weeks was... that it had something to do with what you do for a living?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Oh.
It didn't take me long to decide I wasn't going to do the job.
Oh? Why?
Something happened I hadn't planned on. I started to fall in love with you. I'm sorry, Holly.
Sorry? Oh, Jeff, don't be. Don't you see it doesn't matter why? Not if what you've just said is true.
It's true.
All right. So one of the reasons you can't marry me is your work. I think you better tell me what it is.
Well, my job was to get onto your stepfather's yacht.
For money?
That's right. And the gentleman who hired me is your old friend, Bryan Howard. See, a few years ago, he went through an unpleasant divorce, and one thing he and his wife couldn't divide was the Van Boren. And Bryan didn't want to sell it.
But that's when George bought it 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, it was at Bryan's request. It was supposed to be a favor, and after the divorce settlement, Bryan was to buy it back from Karinakis for what he paid, plus interest. Unfortunately, he didn't have it in writing. He did what, he thought was better. They shook hands on it.
And George, don't tell me.
Un bouteille de vin rouge, s'il vous plaît? Yeah, when Bryan showed up with the check, Karinakis denied they ever made a deal.
Now I understand why he gloats so over that painting. It must be how he got it that pleases him so much.
Anyway, Bryan brooded about it, consulted his attorneys and a psychiatrist, and finally hired me to steal it.
Doesn't seem possible.
Well, I thought I had it pretty well worked out.
No, I mean, that's what you do for a living?
Merci.
Stealing?
Holly, if I thought it was stealing, I wouldn't have taken the job. After I got the painting, your stepfather was to get his check. As agreed. I don't live in your world, Holly. I work in it for people whose problems can't be solved by their psychiatrists or their local chief of police or even sometimes the local prime minister. And one of the reasons they hire me is because of a rather large fee that I charge that makes them sure I'm the right man for the job.
What is it?
$1 million.
Oh, Jeff. Even to me, that sounds outrageous.
No, wait a minute. I don't get anything if I don't bring off what I was hired to do, and I do pay my own expenses.
Don't be offended. But what exactly have you got that justifies a fee of $1 million?
Gall.
Come on, there must be more.
Yeah, there is a little. I was hustled out of college by a certain United States government agency, which shall be nameless, but the 2 years of training they put me through, you couldn't buy for $10 million. And then they sent me to the Near East. You learn a lot about life there. Not to mention death. And 2 years ago, I resigned for personal reasons. But the training and the experience was something very special. And quite often, I'm worth that money.
You gave up $1 million just because you didn't want me to feel as if I'd been used? Well, after a gesture like that, I would have thought the least you can do is marry me.
Holly, you haven't any idea how I wish that was possible.
Not possible?
No. And unless you get out of George's airtight world, it's not going to be possible for anybody else.
Jeff, you don't have to quit your job.
I've told Bryan. He's accepted it.
If you'd told me 24 hours ago that I might do anything that would displease George, I'd have thought you were mad. But now, maybe what George did wasn't illegal, but it was indecent. Do you know, in all the years I've known him, he's never lost. Except the wine cellar to Victoria, of course. Jeff, you're going to finish your job, and I'm going to help you do it. Is this the copy? What happens if George looks at it and knows it's a fake?
In that case, I won't make it out of the country. And I'll have an excellent opportunity to study the French penal system from the inside. All right, you better get back to your room.
No, I said I'd help you.
Look, Holly, I get paid for whatever trouble I might get into. If things should go wrong and they should find out you're involved,
Oh, Mother will cry and George will try and make me hate myself and nothing really will happen. Which just bears out what you've been saying. Besides, you need a lookout.
You've been reading James Bond.
Yes, well, James Bond doesn't need a lookout. You do. What do we do first?
First, you turn off the lights so we can get out of here.
Yes, I will. Okay? Isn't the way to the painting?
It's the way to the alarm system.
How do you know that? Even I don't.
You don't get paid $1 million either. Shh, wait.
There's nothing here.
Hurry up, Jeff. You've got to get off this boat.
Hey, I'm the professional, remember? If Karinakis ever finds out that someone's tampered with his alarm system, he might just discover that his painting's a fake. In which case, I would never get out of France with the original.
To say, sir. Mr. Carlin and I were making the rounds. We were jumped.
Search the yacht.
Excuse me, Mr. Karinakis, but I don't think you'll find anyone on board.
No!
He had scuba equipment, sir. Probably went over the side.
He? One man?
It was the element of surprise, sir.
Assassins and thieves usually operate on the principle of surprise. Listen, get those searchlights on. Lower the launch, radio the police, have them cordon the coastline right away.
Hurry up! Move! Move!
Please tell me what's going on.
I don't know. Somebody came aboard tonight to kidnap a thief.
My jewel case.
Get it! Searching the area. They're searching the area.
Gifts from you and pieces that are age-old antiques.
That's all right. I radioed the police. They'll cover the shoreline. If we don't get him in the water, we'll get him when he comes out.
Bougez pas, vous êtes arrêté. Police.
S'il vous plaît, monsieur. Victoria, I'd like to talk to you about moving closer to town.
Oh, you poor dear, you must be exhausted. Did you walk all the way?
No, darling, I ran. I tried to make it back to the car, but the place was crawling with gendarmes, and they spotted me. I don't think they got a look at my face. Oh, everything went wrong.
Well, no, it didn't. You got the painting.
And I almost got caught. Oh, God. And they know somebody's been on that yacht, and if Karinakis spots that painting as a phony, I can change my name to a number.
But you said it wasn't illegal.
Illegal is what the court says it is. I only know it wasn't unethical. Oh, I'd love to know what's going on outside. And I think I'm about to find out.
The police? Oh, my Lord, they sounds like they're going to knock the door down. Well, what should I do?
Downstairs and stall them as long as possible.
Alors c'est vous, hein? Quelle imbécilité! Je te jure.
I trust you have an explanation for this extraordinary intrusion.
Regrette-t-on de vous réveiller, mais il y a un criminel dans le voisinage.
Just a moment, please. Does either of you speak English? I speak French, but not your kind of French.
I speak English. I said, I am sorry to have awakened you.
You woke me to say that.
Mais no, madame, there is a man, a criminal in the vicinity. We had a report which said he was coming this way.
Dangerous?
Probably. He boarded the yacht, Karinakis, this evening. I don't know why. Assassination attempt, perhaps. Kidnapping, theft.
Was anything stolen?
Oh, mais non, madame. On est obligé de lui trouver. We must find him. May we search the villa?
Victoria! Excuse me, some problem?
Madame, do you know this man?
One might assume that from his manner of dress, yes.
C'est fou. I'm sorry, but his height, his coloring matches the description exactly that we were given.
Oh, nonsense. This is my house guest, Jefferson Keyes, and he scarcely has to sneak on board the Karinakis yacht. He's just come back from a 2-week cruise with him. Jeff, they insist on searching the villa. Some desperate characters on the loose.
Well, perhaps your man could show them around.
Yes, of course, gentlemen. Come in.
Madame, everything is in order, madame.
Oh, well, that is quite a relief, isn't it, Jeff? Really, dear, you'll catch your death.
Madame, j'espère, I hope you will accept our apology.
Of course, all part of the job. Nor rain, nor sleet, nor dark of night.
Merci, madame. Bonsoir.
What did you do with that suit you were wearing? And the painting?
I'm lying on it.
On the painting?
It's still in the cylinder. I wish it wasn't.
Oh. Jeff, they didn't find anything missing on the yacht.
How do you know?
They told me.
That's great. That means Holly's in the clear.
Yes, and so are you. Oh, Brian's absolutely delighted.
Now, how did he find out?
Well, I hope you don't mind, but I telephoned him when you left this evening. Oh, I had to. He's an old and dear friend, and George has treated him abominably.
Victoria, you're enjoying this.
Well, I've always found conspiracies extremely bracing. What happens next?
Then I have to make a delivery.
I want to see what $2 million looks like hanging on the right wall. I think it looks much better there. More at home here, Bryan.
By the way, I had your check drawn up the moment Victoria phoned me. I drew it on my Swiss account. The bit's coming a bit sticky about letting that much cash out of the country. By the way, Jeff, thank you for changing your mind.
Oh, don't thank me. Thank Holly. She did it.
Oh. Remind me to do something very nice for her, will you? Enough zeros for you?
There are never enough zeros, Bryan. But this is what we agreed on. Holly even suggested that I give you a discount out of friendship.
Whatever for. Your services haven't cost me anything.
It cost you $1 million.
Not a sou, not a farthing. $1 million is the precise amount that the Van Boren has appreciated in the years since it was purloined by my greedy friend. And those years and Van Boren's juniors have more than paid your fee. Haven't cost me a penny.
Oh, you are a sharp one.
When are you going back to Joanne Le Pen?
This afternoon, I've got a date with Holly at 4. She says she has something important to talk to me about.
You've known me a few years now. Would you say I was the sort of man to gloat over his personal triumph?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, if you've got room for me in your plane, I'll come back with you this afternoon just to demonstrate how wrong you are. Can't wait till I see George's face to tell him I have my painting back.
Sure, come on.
Oh, by the way, have you got room for 2? I'd like to bring along a friend.
Well, Bryan, is everything as you remember it?
I think so, except, of course, for the painting. Oh, there we are.
What is this?
That's the amount of your original temporary investment plus interest. Not 8 years of interest, of course. That would be prohibitive. But interest up to the day when I offered you my check for the return of my painting and you denied all knowledge of our agreement.
You assured me when you called that if I invited you aboard the yacht, that subject would not be raised.
That proves that neither one of us can be trusted, doesn't it?
There was no agreement. The Van Boren is mine. It will remain mine.
Where do you keep it, Mr. Karinakis?
What are you talking about?
The Van Boren, of course. Is it on the yacht?
You were looking at it.
Mr. Karinakis, I was with the British Museum for 30 years. I mean, don't misunderstand me. I quite agree. A painting of such rare value should be properly protected.
Sir Godwin, that is the Van Boren.
Forgive me. We'd better not pursue the matter. If you don't want to tell me where the original is, of course you don't have to. But if you want to insist that that pathetic daub is the Van Boren, you better hire somebody to paint you a good fake. You know, this patty is really delicious.
Bryan, my compliments. You have succeeded in offending me and amusing me at the same time. So quite frankly, what you hope to accomplish escapes me.
My dear boy, I'm trying to think of the kindest possible way to tell you that after 8 miserable years, you've at last returned the Van Boren to its rightful owner. Hence our check to keep our gentlemanly agreement gentlemanly.
Partu sexo. I've given instructions that you're to be escorted ashore.
Oh, very kind of you. Thank you.
This charade is beginning to offend me. You have known me so long, Bryan. I'm surprised you take me for a fool.
We're all fools from time to time, aren't we? It's a human condition. Oh, I see. Yes, I beg your pardon. One thing that I love of the theater has taught me, and that is the proper time to make an exit. Thank you very much for your hospitality. Thank you, George.
You have behaved disgracefully.
On the contrary, I behaved with honor. You should try it sometime yourself, George, just for a change of pace. Come on, Godwin. Don't overlook the check. The salt water might ruin it.
You know, I miss that man. He's really quite absurd, but always amusing.
I'll see you to the boat.
Mrs. Karinakis, thank you. Pleasure. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
do when he finds out?
Oh, nothing. He has almost as much pride as money. He'd never admit publicly that he was fooled. When he discovers it, he'll probably announce to the world that he sold Bryan the painting.
What are your plans now?
Well, I finally understood what you've been trying to say to me. So I'm going home.
To America?
I'm going to learn to call apple pie instead of tarte aux pommes. I'm going to a drive-in movie. And I may even join a demonstration against military aid to Greece.
Have you told them that?
No. I'm going to wait until George is sure that his Van Buren isn't. They'll be so involved in face-saving that I shouldn't have any trouble at all.
Will you be sure to let me hear from you? I spend a lot of time back home.
That's your world, isn't it, Jeff? It's mine, too. I just haven't found it yet. When I do... You're quite a teacher, Jeff. You taught me how to jump, how to steal, how to love. I may even have learned how to say goodbye.
No.
South Africa's controversial new press ban, actor Marcello Mastroianni, plus all the latest news and sports on CBS News Night Watch. Next.